But perhaps the more important comment I can make on this subject is that the best credit card for you is the one you will be accepted for. Because let's face it, there is no point applying for a credit card if you will not be accepted for it. One of the key questions I often receive is, Shadrach, what is the best credit card on the market? Or show me which credit card I should apply for. And this is a very simple yet a very difficult question to answer, and I'll explain why. But first, I'm happy to know that friends and colleagues are thinking of applying for a credit card because I think it's a fantastic tool that everybody should have at least one. First, it offers you some consumer protections which your debit card will not offer. For example, if you were to buy something online and the item was not delivered or it was delivered damaged, you could obviously contact the seller, and then ask them to refund. But if they were being dodgy or they didn't want to refund that, then you could report your credit card and they have an obligation to refund that money. Secondly, a credit card would help you, build your credit score, which is fantastic. And thirdly, depending on the type of credit card you have, you could actually make money off it. I've actually explained in a previous video, which I'll put a link in the description box below, how I got my 55-inch Samsung TV for free based on the bonuses from my credit card. So I think there's a lot of reasons why you want to have a credit card. And yet the question of which one is the best is difficult to answer because it really, to a large extent, depends on your needs. You see, I've been in the UK for the last 10 or so years, and so I've got a very strong credit score. So my need for a credit card at the moment is not really to build a credit score. I just need something that will offer me bonuses and give me, a great rate. This will be different from somebody who's just come into the UK and need to build their credit score. In fact, recently I bought a new car for, at 0% interest rate based on my credit card. So in fact, if you stay till the end of this video, I'll explain how you can do this also. So we clearly see that for somebody who's just come into the UK or for somebody who's been around for a long time, their needs will be different. Or even somebody who is looking to build their credit score because, something happened and their credit score got damaged. I mean, you would need a different card. In the past, when I used to fly a lot, I had a card that helps me, get discounts whenever I was flying. So the type of credit card you go for depends on your need. But perhaps the more important comment I can make on this subject is that the best credit card for you is the one you will be accepted for. Because let's face it, there is no point applying for a credit card if you will not be accepted for it. Because that would actually hurt your credit score rather than helping it. So regardless of, of course, I'm going to go through, the best credit card based on each category. But the best credit card is the one you will be accepted for. At the end of this video, I'll show you how you can check your eligibility for the credit card you wish to apply for so that you are guaranteed being accepted for it. So let's start with the various types of credit cards. The first type of credit cards to consider are the ones that gives welcome bonus. These are credit cards that will give you a bonus for simply signing up to them. Some of these bonuses can come in the form of cashback, or they could actually be in the form of points, which you can use to shop in various shops. And I think in this category, none beats the American Express Platinum Cashback cards or the American Express Preferred Rewards Gold cards. These are two cards from American Express and they give a generous welcome bonus. Beware though that both cards come with an annual fees so that, they will charge you for using the card. So you want to make sure that, the reward you get offsets the annual fees. But there are many cards you can actually go for where you don't pay any annual fees, and I'll go through those. For each of these cards that I'll mention, I'll put a link to them in the description box below. Do follow it up and see the details to make sure that it is right for you. But more importantly, make sure you will be accepted for it before applying. The next set of cards are the cashback, credit cards. These are cards that will give you cashback for simply using them. So the more you use it, the more, you get rewards back for that. And in fact, before I talk about those credit cards, I need to mention the Chase debit card from Chase Bank. If you have a Chase Bank account, the debit card, whenever you use it, you get a 1% cash back. So it's fantastic. In the first year that you have the card, they'll pay you 1% on every purchase. So that can be good. Obviously, it is not a credit card, but I thought that's quite interesting. You need to know. So the first credit card actually in this category is the American Express Nectar card. Whenever you use your American Express Nectar card, you get Nectar points, and you can use Nectar points in eBay, Argos, Esso. There are quite a few shops you can use it, so you can get those Nectar points. But this card, there's an annual fee. In the second year you start using it, so you want to be sure that that is what you want to go for. Obviously, if you use it, enough, then you may make enough point that will offset the annual fees. But I'll put a link to it in the description box below. Check out the detail before you apply for it. The second card in this category is a Barclaycard rewards card that gives you, I think, 0.25% cash back whenever you use it also. So that is something you would want to know about. There is something, though, that you need to know about using an American Express credit card. Unlike your debit card, which is issued by, say, Visa or MasterCard, the American Express credit cards are issued by Amex, and not all the shops accept Amex. In fact, the big shops, like your Lidl or, most online shops, in fact, all the big shops will accept an Amex card. But usually those small convenience shops don't like Amex cards because if they are going for their money after your purchase, Amex will charge them, and often they don't want to pay that. So in fact, the charge is not even to you, the customer, but just be aware that some small shops may not accept American Express, but most of them do. So that's something to be aware of. So let's continue to the next category. The next set of credit cards are the 0% purchase credit cards. And I think those are fantastic. In fact, like the name goes, it's 0% purchase credit card. So that for whatever purchase you make on the credit card, the interest rate charge is 0%. So it's usually useful if you've got a big purchase coming up. You can use those cards to buy it, and for a set period, you pay 0% interest. 0% interest. I did not say you don't pay anything. You pay 0% interest. And that's exactly what I did to, use to buy my car, because I had a 0% purchase credit card that I used to buy the car. And then because, I pay no interest, essentially it's a free loan, you see, and that is what you can do. The best on the market at the moment is the Barclaycard, 0% purchase credit card, because they give you up to 25 months. In fact, that is over 2 years or 2 years where you don't pay any interest on the amount. Remember I said 0% interest, but using the credit card means that you ought to pay a month, like the monthly amount, at least the minimum. So if you don't pay the minimum, you are likely to lose the 0% status. So you have to pay the minimum per month. And that is how credit cards work. If you don't know how credit cards work, I already explained it in my previous video, and I'll put a link to that in the description box below. So let me use the case of my car, for example. I bought it using the 0% credit card, and then every month I pay the minimum amount. Normally, if your credit card has, an interest rate, whatever amount that is remaining that you don't pay, there's an interest charged on it. But this is a 0% credit card, and so you don't pay any interest on the remainder for the set period, say 2 years. The temptation, though, is that after the 24 months or the 25 months, an interest rate is applied, and that can be, as high as, say, 39%. So you don't want to simply be paying the minimum. By the end of the 24 months or the 25 months, you would have, some remaining which you've not finished paying. And if you don't have the money to pay it off, an interest rate of even 30% or 29% is applied, and that can hurt. So you want to make sure that, one, you are paying the minimum per month to keep your 0% status, but also even, in fact, overpay, so that by the end of the 0% period, you don't have any debt, or you have the money sitting somewhere to pay it. If you've not seen my video on how I got my iPhone for free, this is a similar strategy that I used. It's 0% anyway, so I took the money out of the credit card, put it in my bank, and the interest I'm making on it, I'm using it to pay for the phone. At the end of the day, the money is sitting there, I use it to pay it off. I'll put a link to that also in the description box below, in what I call stoozing. So that is something you can do. In fact, I've got let me show you. Yeah, it doesn't show my number. So this is the Barclaycard Platinum card. It gives you, up to 25 months for free, and you definitely want to have one. Certainly, go for it. I'm not showing any detail. Yeah, that is it. So I absolutely love this card, and it's fantastic. You should have one. So that is the best on the market, the Barclaycard. Remember, There is no point, crying over it if you are, or, if you are going to apply for it and be rejected. There is no point applying for it if you're going to be rejected. Also, not everyone gets the whole 25 months. You may be given 6 months or 10 months, but it's often useful if you've got a big purchase coming up. You just use it and then, you pay the minimum per month so that, you don't lose the 0% percent status. The next set of credit cards are the 0% balance transfer credit cards. These are credit cards that allow you, to transfer debt from one credit card onto them. So, for example, you have a credit card with, debts on it, and they're charging you an interest, and you are struggling to pay, because you didn't finish paying it off by the end of the month, and so an interest rate is starting to be applied on your credit card, and it's becoming a problem. You can actually go for a 0% balance transfer credit card, and they would allow you to transfer the debt from your credit card onto them at 0%, interest. And so, just like the one I just explained, you don't pay any interest for a set period. But you want to be sure that when the period ends, you would have finished paying it off, or you have the money sitting somewhere to pay it. So that can be good. The only catch is that for some of these cards, for you to transfer your credit to them, they will charge you an initial amount. But NatWest has a balance transfer credit card where they don't charge you anything. So it's a 0% balance transfer card, which also charges 0% for transferring money to them. If you plan to pay it off within 22 months, and that's quite a good period, you don't pay anything. But they have even one which offers 33 months of 0%, but they charge you 2.9% to transfer the money to them. So let's assume you owe, say, £1,000 on your credit card and you're struggling to pay. They can allow you to transfer it to them for free and pay it off within 22 months, or else an interest rate is applied. But if you wanted a longer period, then they'll charge you 2.9% of their debt before you transfer it to them. But that can be still a good way to manage your debt. 2.9% is a lot better than, the 33% or 29% you'll be getting on your own credit card. So that is something to consider. The next set of credit cards are the money transfer credit cards. These are credit cards that allow you to actually transfer money from the credit card to your bank. Usually credit cards, would not like the idea that you transfer money from them to your bank or even withdraw. But these ones allow you to do that at an initial fee. I think the best one on the market at the moment is the MBNA one that gives, I think, that allows you to transfer money to your bank account at a cost of 3.49%. So in fact, if you're already thinking of what I'm thinking, you can compare. Instead of going for a loan, which is going to charge you 10% or 11%, this one can actually allow you to transfer the money at 3.5%. So perhaps that may be a better option than that. In fact, I've got one of those. And you can already see that I've got a few credit cards. Where's my MBNA card? I think it's in the other wallet. Yeah, I've got a few credit cards. Hey, so I know some people will ask, how many credit cards should you have? I would say, for starters, have at least one. If you become more confident using it, then perhaps you can graduate to 2 or 3. But be wise regarding how you use it, because if you don't use it wisely, you can get into some deep debt that, only God can save you. So you want to be aware how to use it. I'll share some further thoughts at the end of this video, so stay with me. The last credit cards to talk about really is the credit building credit cards. And these are good for, somebody who's just coming to the UK or the US or something, or somebody whose credit score, has been terrible and they need something to help them build it up. These credit building credit cards are very basic, but that doesn't matter, because they help you build your credit score. Tesco Foundation has a very good one at the moment. And I think Barclaycard Forward cards, these are really good to help you, build your credit card. Build your credit score. I know a few people have been accepted for these cards and they can be great. And you have to be wise regarding how you use them so that you don't spoil your credit score instead. I'll put a link to my video on how to use your credit score to avoid paying interest in the description box below. Do check it out. So finally, the question of, Shadrach, you've talked about these 0% cards. I'm not eligible for them, but I want a credit card that gives me a low interest rate. I really don't obsess over, the interest rate on my credit card because I don't plan to borrow on it. If you are going to, pay off your debt within a month, then it really doesn't matter whether your interest rate is 1% or 100%. If you're planning to pay it off at the end of every month, then you would never pay an interest, because this is how it works. if you spend, if your credit card has, say, an allowance of, say, £5,000 or, say, £10,000, and you spend 1,000 this month, and you pay off the 1,000, it resets it to 10,000. And so there is no interest rate applied. But if you spend, say, 1,000 and then you pay 500 off, you are left with 500 to pay. If you don't pay it off within the month, the interest rate is applied on the 500 you have not paid. And so that is how it works. So that if you pay it off, you would never pay an interest. And that is what I really tend to do. And that is what I tend to encourage. So it's inconsequential whether, it's 1,000% interest rate or whatever. Then, I'll definitely encourage you to go for a credit card and use it wisely. Obviously, you want to get a 0% purchase credit card if you've got a big purchase coming up and you don't want to, go for a loan, or, you want to spread it, but don't want to pay an interest, then that can be good. Well, I hope this video has been useful, and do let me know in the comment section which credit card you have or what you think about them. If you know a new deal on the market, do let me know. We are in this together. Remember, these change over time. I'm recording this video in February, and I suspect that new deals will come onto the market. Whenever they do come onto the market and I think there's something you should know about, I would let you know. So consider subscribing to this channel so that once a new card comes onto the market, I'll let you know. But until then, adios. Stay blessed.